Breaking news just in. President Trump announcing that Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of his peace plan. Moments ago, the president posting that the surviving hostages will be released by Hamas, quote, very soon. What we know about the preliminary peace plan and when President Trump could be on the ground in the Middle East. Also tonight, the new arrest, a 29-year-old Uber driver accused of maliciously setting the fire that grew into one of the most destructive blazes in California history. The alleged disturbing AI images pulled from his computer, what his last passengers described the night of the fire, and the new reaction from the people whose community went up in flames. Former FBI director and longtime Trump target James Comey pleading not guilty. The legal defense his team laid out today. The shocking arrest, a man with 200 explosives detained outside a D.C. church just hours before Supreme Court justices were set to be there. The new dash cam video showing the moment this medical chopper slammed into a highway. Hero Big Sister, how this quick-thinking 10-year-old saved her brother from choking to death. And Dolly, in her own words, she, quote, ain't dead yet. The music legend using her signature humor to set the record straight. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Llamas.
And good evening. We begin with that major breaking news tonight. President Trump announcing on Truth Social that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first stage of a peace plan to end the war in Gaza. The president says that means all hostages will be released soon and Israel will withdraw troops. He also said he may head to the region this weekend. It comes after a dramatic moment at the White House. Here it is, where Secretary of State Marco Rubio interrupted the president and handed him a note saying a deal was close. Tonight, the Qataris confirming that deal. We are covering this from Washington and Israel tonight. We want to begin with Richard Engel, who's live for us in Jerusalem. And Richard, these are complicated negotiations. Remind our viewers, the belief tonight is there are around 20 living hostages, and Israel hopeful they will be coming home.
So we have heard from tonight, even though it's the middle of the night here, from both Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and from Hamas. Both have confirmed that the two sides have agreed to this deal. And yes, the assumption is that there are 20 hostages still alive in Gaza. They've been held for 2 years now. Other hostages we have spoken to described their time in captivity. They said they were kept in tunnels 100 feet deep, not all together, kept in small groups, barely given any food. It will take several days, potentially, to get the hostages to safe locations, to work out the logistics so that they can be handed over. In the past, it has been the Red Cross that has facilitated all of these transfers. So it is quite possible that now that the two sides have agreed to implement this first phase of President Trump's plan, that the hostages could be coming home this weekend.
All right, Richard Engel leading us off. Gabe Gutierrez also live from the White House. And when will the president go to the Middle East? He signaled that may happen this week.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. It was a very dramatic day at the White House. As you mentioned, Secretary of State Marco Rubio interrupting the president at an event just a few short hours ago that had been going on for more than an hour. The secretary walked into the room, handing the president the note you see there and whispering in his ear, telling him that he needed to approve a Truth Social post soon so that he can announce the deal first. Now, of course, the president posting on Truth Social saying, quote, blessed are the peacemakers, quoting scripture. It was very important for the president to make this announcement because his administration has been working so hard for this. And it was just last week, Tom, that the president hosted Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu here at the White House, announcing that 20-point peace plan. Now, there are lots of questions about where we go from here. This is just the first phase, according to the president. But the president also mentioning that he does plan to head to the Middle East potentially this weekend. Now, he was asked where exactly he would be going to. He did tell a reporter that he might head to Egypt, where some of these peace talks had been happening, but the details of all this still very fluid. Again, we're pressing White House officials here to learn any more specifics of this first phase of the deal. But again, the president, as far as we know, expected to head to the Middle East later this weekend, Tom.
Gabe, stand by for us. I want to get back to Richard Engel. Richard, there is some that we know about this peace plan. The hostages will be turned over. The big unknown, who will be in charge of Gaza and when that will start?
So that would be phase 2 and phase 3 of this agreement. But the most important part would be to build momentum. So once the hostages are out and once Israeli troops pull back to predetermined lines, then aid can start flowing into Gaza, construction materials can start flowing into Gaza, and potentially a new government can take over. Hamas has said that it will no longer run the Gaza Strip, but we don't know exactly at this stage who is going to take over. There's been talk of a technocratic government, a committee of experts, and Hamas tonight is not changing its mind about those terms.
A major development in this 2-year-long war. All right, Richard Engel and Gabe Gutierrez for us tonight. Back here in the U.S., it was one of the most destructive fires in California history. Now, authorities have arrested a 29-year-old Florida man, charging him with arson and accusing him of maliciously starting the Palisades fire earlier this year. Nearly 7,000 homes and businesses had burned to the ground, and 12 people were dead. Our Liz Kreutz is on the trail where the first fire began.
Tonight, 9 months and 1 day since the start of the Palisades fire, federal authorities arresting 29-year-old Jonathan Rendernecht, charging him with arson for allegedly setting the deadly blaze.
We will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he intentionally started this fire and maliciously.
After what officials describe as a painstaking months-long investigation, authorities now determining the Palisades fire stemmed from the Lockman fire, which they say Rendernecht started during the early hours of New Year's Day.
And it smoldered underground for about a week until on January 7th, heavy winds caused this underground fire to surface and spread above ground, causing what became known as the Palisades fire.
According to the criminal complaint, Rendernecht was driving for Uber on New Year's Eve. His last 2 passengers allegedly described him as appearing agitated and angry. After his last ride ended at 11:34 p.m. in the Pacific Palisades, authorities say he then drove alone to the nearby Skull Rock trailhead and hiked up the trail. About 30 minutes later, right around here is where investigators say the fire started, likely from a lighter. They say Rendernecht then tried calling 911 multiple times, but couldn't get through, possibly because of cell signal. Investigators not yet revealing an alleged motive, but pointing to these chilling AI images he asked ChatGPT to create.
The defendant's ChatGPT prompt of a dystopian painting showing in part a burning forest and a crowd fleeing from it.
Tonight, fire victims reacting outraged.
It is mind-boggling to think that somebody would actually think about burning down a city.
I want him to know that, how much people are suffering, how much suffering he caused.
And with that, Liz joins us now live from the Pacific Palisades. So much lost, including lives there. Where does the rebuilding stand tonight, Liz?
Well, Tom, it's definitely underway right now, but there is still a long road ahead. Hundreds of permits have been issued, but that's just a fraction of the thousands of homes destroyed. As for the suspect, he did appear in court today. He did not yet enter a plea, and his attorney has also not commented. Tom.
Liz Kreutz live from some of that rebuilding effort tonight. Liz, we thank you. Now to former FBI Director James Comey making his first appearance in federal court on charges he lied to Congress. Kelly O'Donnell is there tonight. And Kelly, James Comey today hinting at his defense strategy?
That's right, Tom. This hearing today revealed 2 things, a plan for speed and strategy. Former FBI Director James Comey pleaded not guilty to making a false statement or obstructing a congressional proceeding, and his lawyers told the court they will try to dismiss these charges by arguing that this prosecution is vindictive and selective, and by saying that it is unlawful how a White House aide was made the acting U.S. attorney after a career prosecutor was fired. Now, Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, has defended the process, saying that Comey was indicted by what she called a liberal grand jury. The timing is set for January 5th. Tom?
Kelly O'Donnell for us. We're going to stay in Washington now in a frightening arrest there. Police say a man was discovered with 200 homemade bombs outside of a Catholic church where Supreme Court justices were set to appear. Ryan Nobles has the latest. And Ryan, police say they also found the suspect's notebook.
That's right, Tom. Police said that Louis Jerry had set up a tent outside historic St. Matthew the Apostle Church in Washington on the day of the annual Red Mass, a Catholic service designed to bless members of the Supreme Court at the start of their term. They discovered more than 200 explosive devices like Molotov cocktails and bottle rockets in the tent. Now, according to the arrest report, Jerry threatened to light the explosives and toss them at officers.
Authorities say he had a notebook expressing hatred against the Catholic Church, Supreme Court justices, and ICE officers. After the arrest, the justices did not attend the event as a security precaution. Tom?
All right, Ryan Nobles for us. Ryan, we thank you. All right, to the government shutdown now in its 8th day, and the Republican stalwart now joining Democrats in saying something must be done about health care costs set to skyrocket for many. The issue at the heart of the shutdown and set to impact tens of millions. Here's Christine Romans.
My own family suffers from this situation, my friends and my neighbors.
For Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, the conflict behind the government shutdown is personal. Typically a MAGA loyalist, she's broken with the GOP over concerns that her children's health care premiums will double next year.
2 out of the 3 have aged out of being on my insurance. And so you're seeing me being a mom who's frankly really pissed off at a lot of the failures that I think come from decades of both parties.
She's getting at the core point Democrats have been making. ACA marketplace subsidies expire at the end of the year. Democrats want to negotiate extensions before they'll vote to reopen the government. As many as 22 million Americans could see their premiums spike by an average 114% without an extension of the subsidies put in place during the Biden administration.
If they expire at the end of the year, what happens to your health insurance premiums?
They will double, it looks like.
Leanne Safford and her husband now pay $278 a month for their health care premiums through the Affordable Care Act marketplace. Their plight, common. According to one analysis, for an individual making $35,000 a year, the annual premium would jump by more than $1,500. A family of 4 making $75,000, their increase would be more than $3,300.
What kind of ripple effect is that going to have in your life?
We would need to budget for those changes. We would need to scale back. Our child is 13, so we may need to reassess when braces might be happening.
For Leanne and millions of others, sticker shock is now setting in as notices come out this month outlining what next year's premiums will be. Christine Romans, NBC News, New York.
And we'll be right back with the fertility doctor whose videos on social media promise thousands of dollars to young women for donating eggs. But that money, patients say, often goes unpaid. That's next. We're back with a story about women from across the country speaking out about a California fertility clinic doctor who they say fails to pay for egg donations. Here's NBC Bay Area investigative reporter Hilda Gutierrez.
My name is Dr. Danielle Lane, and I am a fertility expert.
Dr. Danielle Lane is prolific on social media with more than 100,000 followers. Her website boasts that her fertility institute based in San Francisco provides some of the highest outcomes and fertility rates available to patients.
And we always need more eggs.
Her videos on social media promising big money to young women for donations.
You're telling me you don't think your eggs are worth $10,000? That's 5 months' rent. That's a trip to the Maldives.
Enticed, Caitlin Becker became an egg donor 3 years ago after someone close to her faced infertility.
I'm going to ask you about your GPA, if you have any special talents, your health history, all sorts of stuff to see if you qualify for being an egg donor.
Her third donation with Dr. Lane, the 21-year-old student says she signed an agreement promising a $6,000 payment within 90 days of her post-donation follow-up visit. But 8 months later, after she last donated, she was still waiting.
I'm struggling to get in contact with Dr. Lane, and when I do get in contact with her, it's just her saying, "We'll pay you later."
We spoke to a dozen women on and off camera who found themselves in similar situations, several saying they were paid only after threatening legal action.
There is always an excuse.
Eggvice, an agency that referred donors to Dr. Lane, says they has cut ties with her because of her track record.
She always has something to say, somebody else to blame about compensation or payments.
Our investigation found that in recent years, Dr. Lane has been sued at least 10 times for non-payment or breach of contract, and not just by her patients, but also a former employee, vendors, and even her landlord, who, according to a complaint, is actively trying to evict her for months of unpaid rent. In court filings, Lane denied most of the accusations against her. Dr. Lane did not respond to our multiple attempts to reach her, but we found at least 6 judgments against Dr. Lane and 3 settlements with no admission of guilt.
Yes, I get to take care of patients.
Dr. Lane, still on social media, is now also listed as a medical consultant with a clinic called Conception Fertility.
Egg donation is supposed to be something that's super fulfilling.
Kaylin says after months of waiting and multiple demand letters, only after NBC News contacted Dr. Lane's office did she receive the payment she was owed.
You're helping families achieve their dream of having a child. It's a special process, and I want to protect women and have them be informed because I wasn't.
Hilda Gutierrez, NBC News, San Francisco.
All right, we're back in a moment with the last escaped inmate finally captured months after that massive jailbreak in New Orleans, right after this. We are back down with an update on the manhunt for 10 inmates that escaped from a New Orleans jail. You may remember these images. Derek Groves was the last prisoner on the loose. Today, he was captured in Atlanta after a standoff. You can see him blowing a kiss as he was taken away. It comes 5 months after the inmates escaped. And we're getting a closer look at that medical chopper crash in Sacramento we told you about yesterday. New dash cam video shows the helicopter plunging onto a major highway. The 3 crew members remain in critical condition tonight. And in Texas, a brave girl named Leanne James sprang into action when she noticed her brother choking on candy while they were playing on the trampoline. Here's Leah using the first aid skills she learned from her mom and saving his life. Like any 7-year-old boy, he tells us his sister is, quote, so nice sometimes. When we come back, with rumors swirling about her health, country music star Dolly Parton saying, quote, she ain't dead yet. Her video putting us all at ease. That's next. Finally, there's good news tonight about country music legend Dolly Parton, saying those rumors she was on her deathbed, it's all wrong, but she's all right. Here's Chloe Malas.
I wanted you to know that I'm not dying.
Tonight, Dolly Parton's setting the record straight.
There's just a lot of rumors flying around, but I figured if you heard it from me, you'd know that I was okay. So anyhow, that's what I wanted to say, and I'm not ready to die yet.
79-year-old Parton posting this video addressing rumors about her health. The caption, I ain't dead yet.
Do I look sick to you? I'm working hard here.
The furor following a Tuesday post from her sister Frida, asking fans to pray for Dolly. Hours later, Frida clarifying her comments, saying she didn't mean to scare anyone and that Dolly had been a little under the weather. Parton's health recently came into question after she postponed a series of Vegas concerts set for December, citing unspecified health challenges and a need to slow down.
Everybody thinks that I am sicker than I am.
In her video, Parton explained how she didn't care for herself following the death of her husband in March.
The doctor said, we need to take care of this, we need to take care of that. Nothing major, but I did have to cancel some things so I could be closer to home, closer to Vanderbilt, where I'm kind of having a few treatments here and there.
And just like in her 1980 hit single 9 to 5, Parton says she's still got a lot of living left to do.
I don't think God is through with me, and I ain't done working. So I love you for caring, and keep praying for me.
Chloe Malas, NBC News.
And we pray for a quick recovery. All right, that's Nightly News for this Wednesday. I'm Tom Llamas. Thanks so much for watching. Tonight and always, we're here for you. Good night.